Hello everyone, we are going to cover the most exciting thing in Marvel Champions, the neutral cards. Let's talk about it, Zach.
The heat is being brought. So if you missed it, we just unboxed all the unboxings, and yesterday we unboxed all the heroes. We have all those on YouTube, and we're going to have them up on the Learning Series blog very soon. But the way deck building works, you choose a hero, comes with 15 signature cards.
Can't change them.
And then you get to pick an aspect, and you get to use any of the cards from there you want, up to 3, unless it says otherwise. And then there's also neutral cards. So any aspect can use these. These are what you might expect from neutral cards. There's kind of a generic usefulness to all of them, so we're going to be running them down. And there's 11 in the core set, and you get 4 copies of each of these cards in the core set. And the decks up front, the way they're built, they have one of each of these cards, kind of giving everyone a variety. So we'll run it down.
So basically all 4 decks get a stack of 11 neutral cards, and it's one of every neutral card included. Now, a lot of these neutral cards are 1 per deck. A lot of them are unique, so just pay attention when you're looking through the neutral cards. I was trying to run more than technically I could.
And as a rule of thumb, if a card is unique, you can actually only include 1 in the deck.
Yeah,
so
easy
those are
enough.
also 1. All right, first up, we have Avengers Mansion. This is a 4-cost support, max 1 per player.
See a lot of
that means that you can only have 1 in play, but you can actually have multiple of them in your deck. You can take an action, exhaust Avengers Mansion, choose a player, then that player draws a card.
One thing I really like about Champions, the way the resource mechanic works. Actually, we were asked earlier, what makes this, you think, one of the unique aspects of an LCG? Actually, this mechanic feels really good because what it does is it allows you to include early game cards without the penalty of drawing them late. Because like if I draw this Avengers Mansion and it's 16 turns into the game, I can just chuck it as a mental resource, none the wiser.
And typically you're only going to play 2 or 3 of the cards in your hand. So a lot of times, I mean, one of the arguments made for Destiny early on was you can re-roll with any card, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, I would still rather have a card I could play and also re-roll.
Right.
But in this case, literally, there are going to be 2 or 3 cards in every hand that you just use for energy. Like,
and you're going to like all
out.
of them.
Yep.
You know, that's the thing. So this one, obviously drawing a card equals 1 to 2 resources most of the time, and or a card that you can do something with. So if you're able to drop this in the early game, you get a tremendous amount of benefit. It also allows you to give other players potential cards. So there are situations in the game where, you know, Zach might have 5 cards left in his deck, and he knows that he's got that spinning web kick for 8 damage to end the game, and I have the ability now with my Avengers Mansion to give him the opportunity to draw that.
Directly.
So I would say at least, I would do 1 in every single deck moving forward for a while. I don't like...
It's really good on the first turn.
Maybe 2, maybe 3, since you can use it as a resource later on.
It does only become energy after. If you play 1, the rest are kind of, you know,
they are
dead.
definitely energy, but it's really important to have that draw 1 card for the rest of the game up front.
Yeah.
I mean, that means everything.
And I think just for context, because most people watching at this point probably haven't played, most games are going at least 7 or 8 turns.
Oh, it feels long. I mean, I feel like...
like a minute, like even like hyper aggressive best case scenario, you're looking at 7 or 8 turns. So as long as you get this in play on like by turn 1 or 2.
I'm trying to think of how many turns we actually went through. It feels like 20.
Well, and we were playing on standard mode.
Yeah.
So like difficult mode with, as an example, Rhino, he gets a 3rd stage. So like that game's going to go on for a lot longer. So if you're looking at 10, 12, 13 turns, paying 4, right? As long as you play it on the first 4 or 5 turns, it's going to provide immense value over the course of the game. And of course, it kind of cascades, because if it gives you an extra resource, that resource is going to give you an extra thing, and that might give you more, and so on and so forth.
And
so this is a solid card.
You get to use it right off the bat, too, as soon as you play it. So that's tremendous.
So immediately it kind of costs 3,
like
realistically. All right, next up we have Emergency. This is a 0-cost event. It's an interrupt. When the villain schemes, reduce the amount of threat placed on the scheme by 1.
Okay. That's fine.
It's okay.
It's for 0, it's fine.
I think for 0 it makes it fine, but I still think you're going to have even a 1 for 2 is slightly better, because 1 threat is just...
But I love those 0-cost cards. It costs nothing. I would put this in the... If I'm building my deck and there's nothing that really synergizes nicely with it, I would look at 3 emergencies in every deck.
All right.
Right? Why not? Right? You get obviously everything has a resource, and then there's never really going to be a time when you don't want to prevent 1 scheme, and you have 0 money. Right? I mean, it costs you nothing. It gives you something useful. Not bad.
Yeah.
Better than healing.
I mean, I think the tough part for me is getting rid of this card is getting rid of a resource.
Yeah, that's true.
So just recognizing that
it's not even as good as the resource it could be, right?
That's kind of my issue with it. So I think in time when the card pool gets really big, this is going to be a card that you just see a lot less often, unless there is a character that when they basically are preventing threat happening or whatever,
that's true.
They get bonuses for it or they gets bigger. But definitely, it's a free card. But every card's a resource. So
yeah,
because
you're actually very right about that, especially because you got to consider you had to hold emergency for when the villain does things.
Well, you draw back up going into the villain's turn.
Okay, yeah,
So
you would
draw
see
into
it, yeah.
it, but then I'm thinking about your next hero turn where it could have been an energy or a resource for you.
That's true.
Got him.
So probably not even, I don't know, I would not include it anymore.
Went from 3 of to none of. See you later. No emergency necessary. This next is a fundamental card. It's energy, max 1 per deck. It's 2 energy. There's 3 of these, 1 for each type. And I think that you are going to be crazy not to run each of these, unless for some reason drawing an energy type of a specific kind is just terrible for you.
Yeah, every deck probably for the first year is going to have one of these. Yeah, of each of these cards.
So we'll cruise on along.
Yeah.
Next, we get First Aid. It's a 1-cost event. Action. Heal 2 damage from any character.
This is another one of those cards we were talking about healing earlier and protection. It's not a straight up 1 for 2 like damage is. So I would cut it unless you have things that when you heal, things happen.
Yep.
And there will be
those characters.
heroes.
Unquestionably, I agree. Next is Genius. This is the mental version. Max 1 per deck, 2 energy, and it's awesome art, so triple bonus. Next up, we get the Haymaker. I love this card. I don't know why. Maybe it's because it's got a Captain America on it. I'm biased. 2-cost event. Hero action attack. Deal 3 damage to an enemy. 2 for 3.
I think this is fine.
Yep.
Your win condition is damage, and there are situations where if you can just pay some money and do some damage, you can get rid of a terrible minion for you, or you can end the game or move the enemy to its next form.
Yep.
You're rarely going to pay for this. Likely you're going to use it as energy pretty often, but when you need it, it actually can be very useful.
Yep,
so I would go there.
I think it's a solid card, and I'm prone to damage, so I'll vote for it. Next, we get the Helicarrier. It's a 3-cost support, max 1 per player. It's not unique, so multiple people can have a Helicarrier in play. Action, exhaust Helicarrier. Choose a player, reduce the resource cost of the next card that player plays this phase by 1.
I think this is a great little card.
You know, in a weird way, it's 3 for -1 every round.
Yeah.
And the Mansion is 4 for a card every round. And
right.
so you get the variability of a card, but really a card's kind of a resource.
But it's so much more.
Yeah, a card is better than a -1. I agree, but it's not crazy off. Because I originally was looking at Helicarrier and it's like, there's no way I'm going to play this. But meantime, I'm over here talking about the Mansion. Like, this is the best thing since sliced bread.
You pay 3, and then your next thing's -1 that phase, so it really only costs you 2. You got to use it 2 more times, and then it's all profit.
It's all that's
gravy.
what we call the ramp. That's how we ramp.
I swear, I actually probably will put a couple of those in my deck.
I mean, I could see 1 Mansion, 1 Helicarrier just in.
Yeah.
In every player's deck, and you just kind of do it.
If you can't find better, I'd do 2 of them, and because you can always check it. Seeing these things early is too important, right?
Yeah.
I'm the kind of guy that does 3 of each.
Bold statement. We'll see if you hold to that.
I like consistency. I don't like this random stuff.
But I hate having a card I can't play.
It's a resource. You said it yourself. A resource and a card is the same thing, right?
Yeah, it's just not an option though. That's the Destiny thing, right? It's like I can discard it, correct? But I would also if I can discard it and have the choice to play it.
But at the very beginning of this very unboxing, you were talking about it being better than the Mansion because cards are resources. So what does it matter? Got him.
I'm in a circle. Moving on. Next up, we have Mockingbird, 3-cost ally, 1 thwart, 1 attack, 3 health. Very basic here. Response after Mockingbird enters play, stun an enemy.
I love this card so much.
I think the auto stun.
Put it in.
3 damage. Yeah, I honestly, the rocket wings are enough to sell me. So
you can only include 1 of these in your deck because it is a unique ally. So
yep.
I would put 1 of these in pretty much across the board. Now, if you're playing with 3 or 4 players and everybody's got 1
I think 1 or 2 people need to have Mockingbird.
Yeah. But that immediate instant stun, we all know what happens with cards that do things when they interplay.
They good.
That's the thing that you can't screw up.
Yep.
So I like Mockingbird.
Immediate value. And of course,
speaking of,
we get Nick Fury. He's unique. He's a 4-cost ally, 2 thwart, 2 attack, 3 health. That's a pretty good stat line. Force response.
Won't matter.
After Nick Fury enters play, choose 1. Remove 2 threat from a scheme, draw 3 cards, or deal 4 damage to an enemy. At the end of the round, if he is still in play, discard him. It's important to think about this. Even if you just draw 3 cards, he essentially costs 1 to put into play. So it's 1, but he's going to discard himself.
But he is going to get a 2 thwart or a 2 attack before he does. So basically, like, the draw 3 is generally the best use, I think, especially if you're digging for things like Iron Man's suit or Black Panther's upgrades, those kinds of things.
Yep.
I also, last game, I mean, anything that can do 4 damage out of hand is good.
Yeah, 4 for 4 is not ideal.
This is 6 out of hand. This is do
You get
4
the
and
4
then 2 attack.
and the 2. So it's on the line.
You know, we were looking at the late game, and it's like, how can I do 4 or 5 more damage? It's like, just play Nick Fury. So I could chuck my entire hand, play Nick Fury, and do it.
Yeah, and you could also Nick Fury into damage and then block with him.
That's true.
And just take a big old swing. Now, he's going to be good with leadership, I think, because leadership can use him multiple times in the one round where he's got a decent stat line, right?
That's true.
And
yeah,
boost
yeah.
him.
Standing.
Because if you can find a way to get just a touch more value, I think he's good, right?
Take a mediocre card and try to make it better.
By the way, Nick Fury and leadership just makes sense. I'm going to be honest.
You think so?
He's the guy. He's pulling the strings behind the Avengers scenes.
I believe it. I like Nick. I think it's one of those cards. Probably 1 or 2 players should have a copy.
Yep.
You know,
Makes sense.
it's the Gandalf of Marvel Champions, just not quite as good.
Yeah, I mean, Gandalf was like everyone needs Gandalf.
Yeah.
Because he that good. Next we have strength. It's got Hulk on it. Max 1 protect, 2 physical resources.
Run it. 2
Run it back,
resources for
Charlie.
a card is great.
And next we have my favorite neutral card, Tenacity. 2 cost upgrade, hero action, spend a physical resource, and discard this card, ready your hero.
Yeah.
I'm all about multiple activations in one round. Plus the art is great.
That's actually, that's phenomenal. Because you don't even have to be fighting to do that. It's just spend that resource.
You can thwart, you can do whatever you need to do.
Wow, that's good. I like that.
You can also, the ability to stay ready is just great. So that's the neutrals.
All right, we did it. So, a couple, what do you expect from the neutrals? About half of it is kind of like, kind of trappy, and then the other half is pretty good, but kind of conditionally good. So I would look at the Mansion and the Helicarrier. I think those are good ramp cards. And then Tenacity is just a generally good card. Stand your hero is always going to be worthwhile. And then beyond that, I don't know. There's not a lot that's being offered. Oh, the 2 resources.
Yeah.
I think those get run for the next year.
For just ever.
Maybe forever.
Until there's better if they exist. And I think they did a really good job of. So there's 4 of all these cards in the box, and I think moving to the capacity to buy 1 core set, build 4 playable decks out of the box, and get a play set. So as a single player, if every player buys a core set, that you can do whatever you want. But even the way the neutrals are structured, I'm not certain, right? I think at least 2 or 3 players can run anything they want. Mm-hmm. And then even with 4 players, most of these cards, most players aren't going to run more than 1 of, just because of how that's structured.
Yeah.
So I really am so happy that they turned into a single box situation. I know I've been here a lot of people over the weekend say, thank goodness I don't want to have to buy 3 of a core set for me to get a play set.
Yeah.
Like that's one of the key differences here is that's enough. One of these is enough for 4 people
to play.
Those are
4 actually good playable decks.
Yeah.
There's not even really fighting over the neutrals that's going to go on. So it's a home run for improving that model for sure. And in a lot of ways, Champions is just kind of refining the LCG model even more. And I think they've done a really good job just on the technical details of how this game is going to be produced as a core set, new player friendly, get rid of that kind of new player, it's hard to get in, I have to buy all this stuff, just buy the single hero pack and start playing with us. A lot of the problems of the LCG format are solved in Champions. And so even aside from the theme and the game and the design, that alone is pretty significant for the industry as a whole. One question we saw at Devon, can you have another player take any action on your turn? Is that limited to the cards that are on the field? It is limited to things that are on the field as far as I know. Anything that has the action thing on it, you can have another player do on your turn, but they can't play a card on your turn or do anything that is not currently on the board.
Cool. Very good.
All right, there's the neutral cards, and there we have the entire core set. I believe that we've done it. We've got to get into Gen Con officially now, so it's been a nice morning. It's a pleasure to hang out with everybody, and you can get this game from us. You can pre-order the core set on our website. Why you would do that is because you enjoy everything that we're doing. Hopefully that's one reason. But the other reason is because we are doing a strategy guide that we will be writing with our own bare hands. And it will contain all of the tactics and tips that we learn as we play this game leading up to release. It'll also contain a ton of deck lists. Our goal is to have 4, 1 for each aspect on every of the core set heroes. So right out of the box has 20 deck lists, kind of tweaked a little bit as best we can, even though at a certain point, you're not really tweaking too much because we kind of have made our decisions.
Yeah.
But it's at least understanding how to play it and kind of things to look for, synergies that you might not understand.
And
so you can jump right into the core set, start playing, and not feel lost or confused or overwhelmed.
And I'm excited to dive into basically each aspect and kind of really thinking through strategically how they should be played and played with each hero. And then obviously, once you understand those concepts, you can riff essentially every time new cards are coming out for that aspect.
Yeah, and maybe is this best for 1-player, 2-player, 4-player game?
Also worth knowing.
A lot of things to consider. We also, our Covenant subscription service is applying to Marvel Champions, as you might have expected. We've been running this thing for 8 years now.
Yep.
And the basics are pretty easy. If you want to receive all of the expansions for Marvel Champions automatically, or if you want to receive certain types of expansions automatically, you just sign up for a subscription. It's free. It costs nothing. You can cancel at any time. There's no monthly charge. There's no fees. It's not like a cell phone plan. It's literally just putting your name on a list as an automatic pre-order, essentially. And then 2 weeks before a expansion comes out, you will get charged, and it's a fine price. It's either MSRP or less, depending on the product description. You can find that information there. You'll be charged, and then it'll be packed up and shipped to you, and it arrives almost always on release day in the United States, or like the day after. So we have all of our logistics based around trying to get these products to you as soon as we possibly can. It runs as long as you want. You can always turn it off and then turn it back on later if you'd like. So basically, it's a spigot of products. You can turn it on and it's easy. Anything else, Zach?
That's really it. It's been a blast. I'm super excited about this game, and I'm sure we'll have plenty more content coming. I linked in the chat, in the comments, basically, to the blog where we're compiling all of this. So we posted, I think, 13 or 14 videos so far.
It's a new lap record.
Yeah, that's right. And we're going to be doing more. So if you want to make sure you catch everything we've got for Marvel Champions, head to that blog. And we will certainly be catching you on more Marvel Champions content soon.
Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Until next time, which we hope is soon, keep playing.